Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the show. This one here is going to be Gamers on Politics. We've had a discussion beforehand on another comms where we were talking about several different political topics and said, you know what, let's just drop a show on this and just free mic, talk to a bunch of people from around the globe, different topics, different subjects. Let's roll with it. What do we got here so far, folks? The last thing I heard was Donald Trump leading over in the polls. Who he's going to possibly pick for VP, and what is this indicative of as far as the United States? Go.
Honestly, I believe that it might actually be a good thing. Um, I don't see him running around raising campaign funds like everybody else, he doesn't need anybody's money. I'm kind of curious just to see where he goes with this.
I think it's kind of a little bit crazy, though, that he's just literally skyrocketed up to the top with what he's saying, what he's doing, because a lot of what he's been announcing is just short of political aspiration killing. If any other one of these candidates had said what he said, they'd have been done and over with. Yet he's somehow getting away with it. Is this something where they're giving him a pass because he's been seen as an entertainer?
Well,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
Con. Well, it's for Donald Trump himself. He has quote unquote attempted to run before, which he's backed out. The one thing I guess with this that he's still in and he's gaining popularity, I would say quite honestly, he's stating an opinion that while it's not at all agreed upon by the public, in fact it enrages the public to some degrees, he's at least standing up for it. He's not backing down from his opinion. And at very least stating your opinion and backing it up versus saying something and then weaseling out of it later. I just think he has a stronger standing with the public that, hey, I don't like what he says, but at least he has the backbone to say it and stand by it. And that might be some of his popularity at this point, whether he stays in the long run or not.
Anybody else?
I think it's just a big PR stunt, as usual.
Short, sweet, to the point? I honestly don't know.
Well, it's not his first time doing this.
So you think this is pretty much coming down to he's just in it for the money, and he'll get his notoriety and fame?
Well, yeah. I mean, he wants to be petted. That's pretty much that.
And what does it mean for the rest of the Republican Party with that they will literally have to take second fiddle to him? The crickets.
It'll be
nobody can make sense out of this.
It'll just be interesting to watch. Is it really a PR stunt? We'll know soon enough as far as if he's able to make a profit, and it very well could be. I agree with PA. Very well could be a PR stunt. It's just, what's he going to do now that he's gotten the popularity that he has? Will he have the balls to take it all the way, or is he just going to back out like the last times that he's done it and just take the PR and the money he's earned and walk away? What's he going to do with it?
Well, when it comes down to voting, he's not going to get in regardless. It's not going to happen.
And what if it does? What if he actually gets in? That's the big question. What's going to happen if he does?
Oh, Canada.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Well, doesn't that sound like the same type of rhetoric that other people said? If Obama gets elected, we're moving to Canada because he's all about gun control and abortions and gay marriage.
I actually would. I'd ask Sarcasm Detector if I could, he could spot me for a few months.
I'm sure he would.
See, when Obama was about to get voted in, I said I was going to move to fucking South America if that happened. And I'm still here in the United States. Yay!
Yeah, well, but basically at that point, I mean, if he actually gets in, I mean, that just states how how crazy things have gotten in this country. I mean, that's absolute chaos at that point. I mean, like, if you remember back, like, with Sarah Palin and stuff, I mean, her craziness was somewhat viable. I mean, you could understand it to a point. Trump is just, like, next level, like, out there, just completely destructive and rude and, oh.
No. Sarah Palin's craziness is way above Trump's level. I mean, you're talking about somebody who believes the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Whoa, dude! You're talking about most of the America at that point, especially in the Bible Belt.
Yo, hold up. Do you honestly mean to say that you think that Sarah Palin's crazy is understandable?
Well, yeah, because she's fairly attractive. That's why.
Call this man a psychiatrist right now.
Oh man, come on! I would knock the bottom out of that.
I would too, but I wouldn't fucking admit to it.
Yeah, come on. You gotta have a little fun with this, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, but seriously though, I mean, I don't know. I mean, crazy's crazy regardless of who you are, what you are, genitalia or otherwise. If you're crazy, end of discussion.
Yeah, well,
but there's a whole nother level between Donald Trump's blatant, intentional crazy and Sarah Palin's just, I'm crazy, here's my bat crazy. Enjoy it.
Dude, he honestly, I mean, he knows what he's doing to a point. Like I said, this whole thing is just a complete PR stunt. It has to be. Otherwise, his company would have, like, well, it has kind of confounded in on itself from time to time, but he's got some form of intelligence. It's just him trying to be like, look at me. It's simple as that. It's just a joke.
I don't know if any of you guys caught the whole Univision issue where they just said, you know what, we're not going to broadcast your beauty show anymore. We're done with you. You're disgusting. Goodbye.
Yeah, but he's good radio. I mean, he's good news. That's why they do it. He's funny.
The media sensationalizes it.
Oh, yeah, man.
But if you think about the scheme of crazy presidential candidates, think back to the years of Ross Perot. And look how close that crazy dude almost got to being president. Trump has a really good chance if that dude almost got it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you got to look back at the last couple elections with Ron Paul. I mean, he actually made the most sense out of everybody. And, you know, considering that he was an independent, and we know how independents are treated, but, you know, he made the most sense, and he didn't get in. Crazy is what people want. That's what they go after. But Trump, I don't know.
All right, so what are you seriously going to do if he does get elected?
Seriously, I'm hitting up Sarcasm Detector. I'm going to be like, hey, bro, yeah.
Hey, man, could you get me a house down the street?
Yeah.
I need 3 women.
Let's go watch some hockey, man.
You have 2 choices. It's either the rich guy or the crazy lady. Take your pick. Because if he doesn't get it, guess who's next in line?
Well, I'll take Hillary. I'll take Hillary.
I can't believe she's running, though, to be honest.
Did you take Hillary?
Yes. And I'll give you one reason. Bill Clinton.
Yeah, exactly.
The original black president.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who single-handedly reduced the national deficit down to $1 trillion before he left office.
You know what? Part of that, though, was due to the whole .com explosion. So he was literally in an era where he saw the internet blow up big time, and businesses start jumping in on there and start making money. You literally saw new careers being created. You had people who had new skills that were acquired and were literally being sucked up left and right as soon as they acquired them.
Yeah,
So
but
in that
that
era,
has
you
nothing
had
to
a
do with the
huge
deficit, though.
but you had a hugely expanding economy. You had people who were making a ton of money. They were paying taxes off of it, except for the ultra wealthy. And then you had a huge surplus coming in because of these new jobs that are being created. Not just new jobs, new careers. And then the secondary careers are being created from them. And then the jobs. And then the support jobs for those jobs. You had an explosion of growth in your economy at that point in time.
Yeah, and I'll admit
Part
to
of
that.
it was some of his works. Part of it was attributed to some of Bush Sr.'s works, and part of it was due to the technology sector literally growing out of control.
But nobody can deny that we had the best economic period in history since the 50s when he was in office for 8 years.
No doubt, no doubt,
Deny it.
no doubt. But he
And
shouldn't
that's
get full
the only
credit off of
reason.
that.
No, I'm
He
not
gets
giving
full
him
credit for
full
that.
credit, but he did a lot of work to reduce the debt that this country had to other countries
Hmm.
and reduce that debt to damn near $1 trillion.
Yeah, and that was
Now we're back up to what, 15, 16 trillion in 16 years?
A couple wars and a couple conflicts on the credit card and do a couple other things here. Yeah.
hmm And a lot of that had to do with back with Reagan with the trickle down. With him implementing, the free market and everything. It's
Oh, somebody's about to lose connection.
Hold on, you mean the P on me Reaganomics? Yeah, that thing was not good. I'm sorry, but if anybody to this day still thinks that trickle-down economics is actually viable, please check yourself into a mental institution.
Or go
Go
see an
home.
accountant.
No,
Because
but
obviously you can't handle your money.
yeah, I'm sorry.
What happened to guns and flags?
Well, we're
We'll
gonna
get to
get
that.
there. We're getting there.
We're getting
We're
there.
getting
We
there.
get all sorts of
Hey.
topics.
we could jump right to it. I don't care.
Yeah, because there's some guy over on one of the Google forums, I guess I forgot, but Google Plus boards or forums, where he's talking about how the Confederate flag was never about hate or racism. It's only about heritage and Southern pride. And when the South seceded from the North, from the Union itself, it was because they wanted their states' rights, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at this guy and say, look, here's the Confederate States of America's Constitution. Here's what they wrote up for their own way of living and what they represent and what they mean. Here's a dude who drafted the different flags of the Confederacy and what he felt should be the meaning for each of these flags. Here's a vice president of the Confederate States of America stating his rhetoric about how whites are the purest thing and the Negro's stature should be to be subservient to whites. You can't get any more clear than that when they wrote it down and they stated it very clearly. This is what we represent.
Hmm
How are you going to go and change and say that never happened, and if that ever existed, it's wrong because it never happened?
Well, that was the whole point of the flag to begin with. I mean, that's the whole issue with, with the South, fighting the North. It's because they wanted to keep their slaves. That's pretty much it. I mean, there were other issues, but in the long term, it was they wanted to keep slaves. They wanted to keep human beings working for them for free. Simple as that.
Okay. Let me just drop this out there. You come for my guns. You come for my flag. I'm skipping World War III. We're going right to 4. And on that note, I'm Khan, and I'm out.
You could keep the... Nah, he's going to bounce like that. You can keep the
Wow.
flag, you can keep the gun, but you can't run from history. You can't go and say that this never happened when it did.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem, Odin. Is everybody is putting themselves in the mentality of humanity back then when that is not the case today.
Mhm.
You know, the mentality back then, even the slaves back then would tell you that, hey, this is the way it was. This is how it is. This is what we can't fight against. They would tell you that. Nowadays, if somebody tried pulling that shit, guess what would happen? They'd get arrested. They'd be thrown in jail for life. I mean, seriously. The whole topic of this Confederate flag thing is not about racial tension anymore. The people that want it flown for their heritage. It's, you know, they were part of the South, and yes, their family was probably slave owners. I get that, but to basically de-symbolize that flag as a Southern heritage and say that everybody who owns one is a racist piece of crap who wants to have black people hanging in their tree is just wrong. And you know, I see both sides of it.
Except that's literally what it was resurrected for.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
And people to this day still want that representation. On top of, this is for the folks that were my ancestors who fought in this war. There are some people who legitimately say, yes, I wear this flag, or I fly this flag, black, white, whatever, who say that these are for the ancestors that fought for the Confederate States of America, and I just want to use this to honor them and to honor whatever principles that they served there. But they also either ignore or are not sure of what that history really was about. When you go and you read those words, one, of the people who literally created this flag and the government that the flag was to represent, and then two, the people who resurrected the flag for their own purposes, and the massive amounts of people that joined them to empower that symbol again for that reason of segregation, that reason of racial hatred, that reason of white supremacy.
Let me ask you a question.
You're going to have to do a lot of work in order to change that meaning again.
Do you, as a black man, sag your pants?
No,
Why?
because I think it's unprofessional. It shouldn't be done.
Okay.
Because and going through the history of it, which I learned later on, it was a prison symbol for making yourself available for sexual intercourse.
Correct. But what does it stand for now?
Ghetto thug.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. The flag may have stood for all of that slavery stuff and all that good stuff now, but there are people who truly feel that that flag no longer represents that.
Then
Even though there are people who still do.
They will have to, one, contend with the people who still hold on to the original beliefs of that flag. Two, will have to stop saying know your history and saying that that flag never meant that when it does.
Oh, I agree. I agree. It totally did mean that.
So when they can acknowledge that, and then they can come up and say, I want to change the meaning of that flag, and here's how, then I would say, I support you with that. I support you with that endeavor.
And that's why I made that comment in TeamSpeak that if you were to go out in public with a Kill Whitey t-shirt with the Black Panther symbol, I would friggin' applaud you and shake your damn hand.
But that's because you know me.
Oh, yeah, but I would do that to any black man.
Really?
Yes.
And how many other people would share that same mentality?
Quite a lot more than you think. There are a lot more people on the side of racial equality than there are on the racial inequality side.
Which is true for the most part, but there's a lot of people who are very complacent to just leave it be and it becomes somebody else's problem.
Yeah, but complacency isn't guilt.
Complacency isn't guilt. Complacency isn't saying that you're the one doing that action. Complacency is, oh, I see that there, but because it's not my problem, I'm going to ignore it and not say, this is wrong, this should be put to a stop. That is, while it's not doing the act, it's saying passively, yeah, we're going to let this go. We're going to passively approve this.
So you're basically saying omission of a truth is still a lie.
Omission of the truth is still a lie. This is saying if you see a cop harassing somebody, I don't care regardless of whatever the skin color is. If you see a cop harassing somebody else that has done no wrong or performed no illegal act, and that cop abuses them, beats them, shoots them, whatever, and you don't report it, you are passively acknowledging their actions, that cop's actions, and you are stating, yeah, I'm going to approve of this because I don't see this as being wrong.
Okay, there's a problem with that statement, though.
Go on.
Because how do you know 100% for fact that the person they are harassing and or pursuing or arresting or shooting did not commit any type of criminal activity or threaten the cop's life in any way, shape, or form? How do you know that unequivocally?
You can be a witness there from start to finish. The cop could come up there and say, need to see identification. Person presents identification. Come back and say, okay, you are not the person we were looking for. I'm still going to ask you some questions. They start asking questions. The person says, am I being detained? Cop says, I'm going to keep you here as long as I need to. And then the person says, well, if you don't have any relevant questions here that will keep me detained here, I'm going to leave. Am I free to go? And then the cop beats them because they asked that question.
In that case, yeah. But there's a lot of people sensationalizing
all of
the stuff
in
the media right now. And it's making the situation worse. And about 90% of the so-called abuse cases are legitimate arrests that are getting media and attention based on racial inequality. And it's wrong.
There are plenty of people, regardless of skin color, who are being abused by police. And there are plenty of people who are looking to corner law enforcement into some way, shape, or form where they can sue the pants off of them and gain a lot of money.
Exactly.
Oh, there is. There's quite a few of them.
Both sides of that equation need to be stopped one way or another. Live video feed should be there. Better training should be there. Citizens actually paying attention and stepping up and demanding more of their law enforcement, the city officials that are required to get a budget in order to hire these people, and whoever mandates whatever rules there are for training. All that needs to happen, but that needs to happen because people are putting pressure on their elected officials and the city council to make this happen. If people don't give a damn, they're literally saying, yeah, you know what, I'm going to let the status quo be at whatever it is. I'm just let it be.
Well, I mean, just like with the cops that are flipping out that they don't want to be recorded, they're arresting people that are recording them with their phones. It's our right to do that. There's nothing wrong with us recording them. It's because they feel that they're doing something wrong, or they might get in trouble for something, but they are paid by us, the people, to do a certain job to protect the people.
Then tell me why, when a white cop beats the crap out of a white victim, nobody says a damn word. There's no sensationalized media.
We say a damn word.
No.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Show me.
Yes, we do.
Show me proof where
Look
it's
at
been
my post.
sensationalized as much as a black person
Well,
getting beat up by a cop.
I'm not saying that there aren't people who will not say this is wrong. It's just that the big networks, CNN, Fox News, etc., won't go and say, hey, look, this is yet another example of police brutality,
Exactly.
even with their own images.
Exactly.
Well,
That's
that's the
Because
big
they're trying to sell their own narrative in order to make a story.
Exactly.
And nothing works more than trying to put black versus white, and they know that.
And
Because
that's
they can
why
play off of
I-
people's closet racism on
But-
both sides,
But
and it's wrong, all across the board, wrong.
Yeah, but what I'm sitting there stating is that no police officer has the right to sit there and tell you to turn off your phone and put it in your pocket. They don't. Unless you are the guilty victim, even still, you have the right to do it to a point.
Yeah, but if I am guilty of nothing, I'm going to follow the cop's instructions
You have to.
because I know I'm guilty of nothing. The people who aren't guilty of nothing are the ones that are trying to sensationalize it. They'll pull out their cameras. They'll be belligerent with the cops. They'll
Yeah,
Not
start.
necessarily so.
that's
Not
not
necessarily so.
But I agree. Also, a lot of them like intimidate and try to provoke the cops. I get that. I understand that. But it's still they're not being paid by me or you or Odin. I have the right personally. Any cop that comes anywhere near me, I could pull out my phone and record them all I want. They have no right to take my phone to tell me to stop recording at all, at any one point. Now, when it comes to like the media and stuff like that, how they take it and they run with it, that's that. That's them trying to sell ads to keep their network going, to keep people watching, regardless. But me personally, I keep my phone ready to record at any one time because you never know what could happen. And I know that personally because my in-laws, a lot of them are police officers, and they are shady people. They do a lot of screwed up stuff, and they have done a lot of screwed up stuff. And I've heard about it, and I've seen it firsthand.
Then why aren't you reporting it?
I do report it, and I record everything I can and do everything I can.
That goes to another point here, though. How far or how deep does this blue wall go? Who do you report this to in order to get this thing fixed? Because we want the police to be able to serve and protect us. We want the police to be able to make sure that the laws on the books are being enforced properly. We don't want them to abuse their privilege to carry a gun and a badge,
Well,
to bully people.
that's why they should have cameras on themselves and also their vehicles, which they already do. And I mean, they need to have cameras on every street corners, to be honest. I understand a lot of people get paranoid and stuff like that, but you're driving on a public street, you're driving around on a public thing. It would help you out in a car accident, whatever. There needs to be on every street corner cameras.
There's an irony to this. There is really an irony to this here. Because the ACLU a couple years back, when the idea of putting cameras on every street corner came up, they were saying, no, privacy issues. We should not do this. And yet, fast forward to a year ago, and they came out with an app that literally will allow your phone to not only record anything that's there, but upload it to some sort of database so it can be, and social media, so it can be reviewed by other people in case something bad does go down. So there's the irony of it. Fast forward a little bit further, whoop, the situation changed. So does the message that you had initially. You were very concerned about privacy. Don't put cameras on every street corner. Now you literally want cameras on every street corner and on every person.
Well, not every person. Paid officials, like police officers. Hell, even you put them on EMTs and firefighters is same too.
You guys have cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many
Yes.
people in this country do you think have cell phones?
Pretty 95%.
I would say anybody who has a job can get a cell phone.
I can guarantee you right now that the government does have the ability to know where you are, what you're doing, and listen into your phone calls and view your camera on your phone anytime they friggin' want to.
Well, yeah.
So it's already there. Big Brother is already watching. So yeah, just open it up. But the problem is you have to have mature people in charge of this. Mature people that are willing to do it for the actual safety and the sake of the community. If you get a bunch of guys in there that are going in, oh, look, this guy's picking his nose in public, he records that on his phone, throws it up on YouTube, now you've got a problem. Because now that guy is on YouTube, people are making fun of him, and they're defamating his character. So basically, it's going to turn into one giant ball of lawsuits. And that's probably why a lot of people are not willing to do the whole camera thing.
Well, even with that though, we live in a technology era now where we can have quality video being
look at the
recorded
Walmart
by
videos.
anybody.
Yeah, the Walmart website. Oh my God, that thing is funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
a lot of those people don't even know they're on there.
Exactly. Well, you always want to assume you're being recorded whenever you step into a business.
Yeah, but if I find my face on one of those websites, guess what? Somebody's got a problem on their hands.
But I mean, you stepped out in the public domain. You go into a public place. You should expect some form of. Are you going to yell at the guy in the park bench for looking at you?
No, but he's not taking a permanent picture for millions of people to see either.
But I mean, isn't that worth like a little bit of like idea of like it could solve a child rapist murderer case. It could find a vehicle. I mean anything. I'm not talking about like them bugging your phones and stuff, which they already do. We know through the Patriot Act. I'm just saying, like on street corners, there's nothing wrong with cameras.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you have to have some level of control, and mature people doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and this society, as we all know, is not mature enough to handle it. People in general are not mature enough. A person can be mature enough, but the mass confusion of a group of people together causes chaos, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, I disagree with that to a point. To a point, as much as we want to treat the public as being stupid and ignorant, a lot of them know common sense. I mean, yeah, if they find 5 seconds in the limelight, they're gonna freaking take it. But in the general scheme of things, they see something wrong and they know something's wrong. I mean, like child abduction. Elderly person, silver alerts, getting out. They do everything they can if they know that they can.
See, I disagree with that because it depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll give you a prime example. Let's say there is a shopping center, and there's a huge parking lot, there's 5 people in it. One guy decides to go in and start robbing the store. The other 4 people are going to stand there going, you're stupid. But if there were 5,000 people standing there, and 500 of them went in to start looting the store, I can guarantee you that most of the people sitting in that parking lot would probably run in there and start looting too, because it's a mass hysteria kind of thing. That's why a lot of corporations and big businesses and cultural communities and stuff like that will tell you that a person individually is smart, he is concise, his decision making is good. But when you put people together, that collective decision-making goes out the window.
Yeah, pack mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that to a point, but I don't know, man. I think people are changing. I don't think it is as bad as we make it out to be. We only get to see on the media and Facebook the amplified, like, BS behind it.
Because it's all sensationalized.
Yeah, well, yeah, because people make money off of it. Simple as that. I personally like here my local news. My local news here is Bay News 9, Odin. You're not too far from me, but Bright House Networks. I don't know if you have anything.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the
but
news there.
Yeah, but I mean, it is on point locally here. I mean, if somebody goes missing, it's reported, and they repeat it like every 15 minutes. I mean, it gets it to the point like they're like, oh, it's a Chrysler 300, tan color. and that's my car, by the way. Anyways, see next to a park, it's just like immediately I get paranoid and I start looking out my windows. Everywhere I go, I look, and if I see something like that, I call the police. I literally do every time, and that's how
I
it should
applaud
be.
you for that.
Mhm.
And
But-
unfortunately, there are some people who will not do that.
Exactly.
There are some
Yeah.
people who will walk
But
by
see,
and
but
see
see-
somebody getting beaten or raped and will just continue on saying that's not my problem.
But see, that's why we need to have more like cameras out in the public world, not in your own home, not in your own backyard. I disagree with that 100%. But public areas, sidewalks, streets, malls, convenience stores, Walmart, it just, I mean, you have to have that. You have to have that to keep everybody safe. I mean, like in Christmas time, everybody knows people break into cars. If there was more, like surveillance and stuff like that, that would solve just that much more heartache at Christmas, for God's sakes.
No, it wouldn't, because then they would just go get masks and do it.
But they're idiots in general. They usually leave some kind of
Yeah,
evidence. You can
idiots
see
in
where they're
general,
driving,
yes.
and you can see where they're driving, where they're heading, and then you could actually, if there were cameras everywhere, you could track that car pretty much to a localized neighborhood and track them down. You really could.
Most car thieves aren't going to back to their house with that car when they steal it. They're going to the chop shop.
Lead them back to the chop shop. Just. My opinion is, like, basically, if people are so worried about the public being filmed, you're doing something wrong. Or you think that, you're paranoid about nothing. Nobody, honestly, in a general thing, cares about you picking your nose. I've seen plenty of people picking their nose in their car. I've seen plenty of people, scratching their ass at a bus stop. I do not care.
Then explain to me the popularity of that Walmart site.
Because it's basically stupid people taking photos of other stupid people.
Exactly.
But
That's
I mean,
the point.
If you're stupid enough to do it in public, you deserve to be filmed and captured and put online. You deserve it.
I totally agree. But have you seen that movie Idiocracy?
Yes.
About where
Yes.
humanity will be in 500 years?
Yep.
Okay.
More
After
like
having
the next
seen
election at this point.
After having seen that, can you honestly sit there and tell me that this society right now is capable of handling that type of responsibility and that type of mentality and not wind up like that?
I do. I believe that we can and we could.
Then I want some of what you're smoking, my friend.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, I mean, there are people who will do good. There are people who want to do good but are afraid to do so because no good deed goes unpunished, depending on where you live or what situation that you're in. So you're taught to just keep your head down, keep your nose to the grindstone, and ignore everything else that's around your peripheral vision, and you will be okay. None of this, we survive as a species because we are altruistic and help each other out, even though that's what we do.
No, I
we
think
advance as a society, but we're keep being told in this culture, keep your nose to the grindstone, worry about yourself, you will best everybody else, and to hell with some other people if they have a problem, you worry about you.
I know, but that's the reason why we need to get rid of some of the stupid laws, to be quite honest. I mean, like, pot. I don't smoke pot. I haven't done it in, like, 20 years. I did it as a teenager. I don't smoke pot. I don't think pot should be illegal. Makes absolutely no sense to me why it should be, because it's not nowhere worse than booze.
I know why it's illegal.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
Paper.
But that's funny. Anyways, but I mean, the fact is, when you make something illegal, there's going to be a black market behind it, and with black markets become crime. Crime amplifies. I mean, if you made something like that legal, you're going to get rid of most of the cartel work, most of the gang work. You're you're going to get rid of a lot of weird crime.
You mean we won't have prohibition anymore? We won't have that whole, oh, look, we're going to get rid of all alcohol all across the United States of America. Look what happened with Prohibition.
Prohibition, prime example, perfect example. No. It's a whole reason, like with Capone. Capone would never have been a thing without Prohibition. It's a whole reason why organized crime began. Because of something as stupid as that. And I drink alcohol. I'm drinking it right now. I believe alcohol is far more detrimental than weed is. And I don't smoke weed.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm on the side of making it legal, but I disagree with your statement about it reducing crime. Because what's going to happen? These people that are selling the pot, they're growing the pot illegally, they're manufacturing this, they're not going to stop. They're just going to switch products. Because pot is not the only illegal drug out there. And I guarantee you, if they can't sell pot illegal anymore, it becomes legal, they either do one of two things. They either start legalizing their production and make even more money, or they switch to another drug. And crime starts continuing up again as it was. And
Now,
there's no stopping that.
Let's be honest here, though. There are a vast majority of people out there who have this mentality with marijuana. That they want it, they want to use it for multiple products, whether it'll be hemp, paper, or growing it for medicinal purposes or recreational use. Okay? Those people, now I don't have statistics in front of me here, but those people, if you took a survey of them, I would guess, I'm speculating here, I would guess that the vast majority of them would say, what, weed's legal now? Great, I can grow my own personal variety of it, and I'm done, and they would not move on to any other substance.
Agreed.
Any other chemical substance on there.
Agreed.
The small number of people who are wanting to look for an illicit drug, a controlled substance, to sell to people are either looking to make money in an underground network and they don't want to get a business license to start up something, or they're in it for the thrill.
Wait. Small number? Do you know how big the ecstasy and cocaine market is?
Nowhere near the number of people who would be interested in cannabis being legalized.
Agreed.
I tend to disagree on that because I know people in drug enforcement, and weed is the least of their concern.
Exactly.
So do I, but the weed is the least of their concern, though, because according to them, even though the Fed has bumped up its class as a controlled substance, serious people know that to hell with weed and to hell with potheads. We need to go after the opiates. We need to go after MDMA. We need to go after all these other things that are helping cartels and other organized crime that's actually coming around here and trying to run their own show in the States as well as in other countries.
I mean, weed in the scheme of things, whether it's, they make it legal, and people are still doing illegal things, like, buying it here and there or growing it themselves. We, the taxpayers, we human beings, save so much time worrying about little things as that. I mean, like, nobody gets hyped up on weed and goes and murders anybody. Nobody, like,
really?
No.
I know somebody who did.
They were on something more, or they were mentally imbalanced.
Nope.
To begin with.
Wait, hold on.
Both cases was neither.
PCP-laced weed or heroin-laced weed?
That's not weed. That's laced with something else. Yeah, I understand that. But, I mean, if you make something as simple as weed legal and stuff, it would not be a big issue. More of an issue is alcohol. Alcohol, it's far more detrimental than weed in any case, any cause.
Yeah, but alcohol makes this government way too much money. So
can weed.
Oh, I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of the people that think weed should be legalized for the simple fact that they could control it, they could tax it, they could alleviate a lot of the taxation that we're responsible for by taxing the weed. And
Yeah,
it literally killed the deficit.
and they can, yeah, exactly. And it would actually decrease crime, right? I mean, like, look how many teenagers, their futures are ruined because they got busted with a dime bag, a couple, you know what I mean, or a bigger amount of it. Their futures are ruined. Therefore, if they know that their future's ruined, they tend to go back to just being illegal degenerates, as opposed to.
No, I disagree because a person is a product of their environment. Now, whether they choose to rise up above that environment is their choice.
Don't make me
hard,
pull the
put your
playing
mind
life.
to it.
Do not make me play the playing life on hard mode card. Don't make me go there.
See, no. I don't believe in life in hard mode. I believe in
Don't
choices.
believe in life in hard mode.
No, I don't, because I've been on the bottom of the barrel. I
So have
know
I.
what it's like to be homeless. Okay?
So have I.
I've been there. And everything in my life, I look back, every single bad thing that has happened to me, or every single thing that was within my control was my choice. I
And
chose
what
to
about
get
the things
myself
that were
up.
not in your control? Now, I'm not saying that how you react to it is a situation, but what about the things that were not in your control? How are those things your fault?
Those are the anomalies. Because those are the
How
things
can
you
those be
cannot control.
anomalies? All right, for you, they may be anomalies. For other people, that's the norm.
Okay,
That
well,
is
let me
the
give you a
norm.
prime example. I'm currently sitting on disability because I broke my back at work doing my job. Okay? Did I choose to sit on my ass this entire time and do nothing? Did I choose to feel pity for myself because I have a broken back and they're not going to fix it just yet? No. I'm doing something about it. I'm getting up off my ass. I'm investigating. I'm researching. I'm doing what I need to do to make sure my life doesn't wind up in the toilet again. And that's the problem most people have nowadays is they don't want to choose to work harder. We're living in the age of entitlement where everybody thinks that they should be a fucking CEO right out of college or high school. And it's not how life works.
There are a couple of points there that I would agree with you on, and there are a couple that I would strongly disagree with you on there. And that's actually something I'm going to segue into it. But when you have groups of people that have literally been shut out of careers, career choices, living environments, living situations, education, and they fight and they struggle and they try to not just meet but exceed whatever arbitrary requirements there are in order to be able to get to that standard, and they're still put down there. And other people look at them and say, "Wait, I'm in the same boat as that person there, and look how hard they're working towards this. What the hell's going to happen to me?"
But it's your choice whether or not you stay down there. That's my
No, that is true. That is true. But when you have a systemic pattern that is going to keep throwing up this wall for every group that tries to pass it, and that wall exists for no other reason than to keep that group out, then what is somebody to do about that?
change direction, make another choice.
Make another choice. Like what?
It's not as simple as that.
Choose a different path.
Choose a different path. So what? All right. So if you can't live in this specific community, go make your own community. Okay. What if that's done, and then that community gets destroyed because they see that another group sees that you're prospering there, and they go and destroy that community?
You're talking about three different things, though.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the same subject that bleeds in from other subjects.
Okay, so what you're telling me right now in today's society is that a black man who decides to drop out of high school is automatically put into this community that can never do anything because he chose to do it.
No. A black man that drops out of high school is dropping out of high school, and in my opinion, that's a dumb decision.
Okay.
But if he chooses to do something with himself and saying high school's not going to cut it for me, but I'm going to choose and to do something productive, whether it be in some sort of trade or in athletics or in entertainment, or invent something or learn something on his own or her own, and then apply that to life so that they can provide for themselves and then later on for their family and be a productive member of society, yeah, I'll frown upon them dropping out of high school, but they didn't sit on their ass.
Yeah, I see where you're coming, what your point is, but in today's society, how often do you find that wall?
Very often.
And
Very
I beg to
often.
differ with you, because there are plenty of non-white people, and I know what you're getting at. There are plenty of non-white people in very influential positions in very major companies. I know because I work for one that has a lot of black and Hispanic people employed in it in upper-level echelon.
Right.
So
And
that
does
wall
not
that you're
mean-
talking about
that
is
does
not
not mean-
impassable.
That does not mean that just because they are there, all the problems are solved. That does not mean that, hey, look, if you're white and you get caught with 6 ounces of weed at age 16, guess what? You're going to get a slap on the wrist and 6 weeks or 6 months of probation.
Not in New Jersey, you won't.
Black people won't. But Jersey's a bit more progressive, whether they want to admit it or not. Okay, they're a
But
bit
you're
more
saying
progressive.
that there's this huge
I will
wall
tell you
that
cases in the
nobody can
state
get
of
past.
Florida. I will tell you cases in the state of Florida where you will literally have 2 teenage boys, age 16, and the only difference between them is the color of their skin, and one will get a much lighter sentence than the other.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. I totally
And
agree.
then because of that
But-
sentencing, that starts a spiral into it. Now, where they could still work out of that spiral, but you will see one wall after the other come up.
Yes, but
Constantly.
what put them in that position in the first place? Their choice to do something that was technically against the law. That
Right.
was their choice. They put themselves in that situation. And that's what I'm trying to say is everybody has a choice.
Right,
Get
but
on
the
your ass or
chances
break
for
the law or do something better with yourself is your choice.
Right, but there is no
I
equal
understand that.
protection under the law. There is no equal punishment under the law. The same, and I'm using that because that's a very tangible, easy to research, easy to find case where you can see that. And once you have this coming out into play, their lives are completely different. Completely different from that
Because of
pathway
the
forward.
choices they made.
But no, look, because of
but
the choice, they made the exact same choice. How can one be better than the other?
All right, hold on a second. I understand that they have a choice, but the fact is they don't know the other options. They're not educated. Nobody's told them the other options. That's the problem.
There are some in the black community that do know, and I use the term "quote unquote" black community very loosely. That
not
they
even
do
talking
know the
about
other
the black
options,
community.
and they shun it. And they shun it because they want to have this type of attitude where it's like, oh, you're trying to act like whitey. Get over it. That's BS. They need to get out of that stupidity. I'm talking about the people who made the exact same mistakes as their peers did, and the only difference between the two is that the melanin concentration in their skin. And one gets treated completely differently than the other.
I will give you that, but this is not what we're talking about. It's not about race at this point. It's
But
about-
it is about race at
about a
this point here.
path in life. It's not about the walls that are in front of them. It's about the walls that they put in front of themselves.
No, the walls that they put in front of them, and I'll go back to this one here. Those people, and I will speak from experience of this, those people who are black, who do not want to further themselves with education, who do not want to be contributing members to the society, whether within their own circle or whether for the greater society of the United States of America. They do not want to contribute. No ifs, ands, or buts. They want to sit on their ass and collect the government cheese and be done with it.
That's
And
not
if
just the
you're trying
black
to-
people, though.
Yeah,
Well, I know
exactly.
it's
It's not just the
that.
black
I know
people.
that.
I was going to sit there and say half of my family are on disability for BS reasons. Absolute BS reasons.
Yeah,
But
and I'm, getting
I'm just
denied
making that
for it,
point
and I broke
there.
my back.
I'm just making that
And
point because there are people who have no excuse in the world and would sit around and do absolutely nothing. And there are people who would have every single excuse in the world, and they would say, you know what, I have a busted back, but that's not going to stop me from doing something else.
Exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that everybody has that choice, that ability to change their path, rise up above their environment, and make a difference for themselves and change what the stereotype is.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to loop all of our previous discussions back into this one here.
Mhm.
What happens when you have these arbitrary walls coming up? So where you have two people who did whatever, the same thing, whether it's good or bad, and then they get treated completely different, even though they did the same thing, good or bad. When you have
I totally agree with you.
walls up on it. Now, what is a society going to do about it? And if they are complacent, if they are sitting by in the sidelines, isn't that the equivalent of saying, yeah, I passively approve of this?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I see where you're going with it, and I totally agree that, as a society, the system needs to change. But
Well,
it can't change unless people decide to choose to make it change.
I know, but again, that goes with the fact that they don't know the options. The people don't know the options. And how we solve that is through education. We need to push more money into education, in educating the people. Simple
Okay,
as that.
that's a crutch. That right there is a
That's
crutch.
not a crutch.
That is a crutch.
Well, hold on. That is a crutch, and here's why.
No, it's not.
Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. You want to talk about the ultra suspenders wearing portion of the Bible Belt. They literally want to rewrite history in their history books. They literally want to redo science in the science classroom. And when you have the next generation coming up with that and learning it this way, and then all they understand is, well, this skewed, warped version of science and history, they're going to sit by and say, well, this is what we were taught. I'm just going by what I was taught. So you don't have to just pay your teachers better. You don't have to just make sure you have a better infrastructure for them. You have to make sure that you hold your leaders accountable for what they're trying to put in the history books and in the science classroom, and not put garbage in its place.
I see what PA was trying to get at with people aren't shown, they don't know the options that they have available to them, but that's no excuse. They do have the ability, any person with a brain has the ability to say, okay, I can't do this, I need to find something else, make another choice, make another decision, and investigate and go out there and look for other options.
I know, Proteus, what's your IQ level?
176.
There you go. You know your IQ level. A lot of people don't even come near that. They're like roughly around 100. A lot of
Not
people
even that.
naturally, I mean, it's not their ability to achieve like numbers that high. They need to be educated. The lower people, not lower people, but just unfortunately, we are in a caste system in a weird way, without there being a caste. These people need to have education. They need to understand. You need to take more time, especially at a young age, to let them know. We need to have more education. It doesn't have to be just, oh, boom, here's a textbook. Read it, understand it, test tomorrow. We need to have more nurturing people explaining it to them. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a frustrating thing, but it's. I believe if we educate the people at a young age, and we educate them right, I mean, with love and caring, just tenderness, they will get it. They will understand. If you sit there and tell somebody, this is the way to do it, this is the only way to do it, it's not going to work. You have to give them options. You have to let them know. Because the way society is pushed now, everybody has to go to college. Everybody has to go to college. No, that's not practical. We need fry cooks. We need doctors. We need car washers. We need street sweepers, and we need, unfortunately, we need politicians. But the fact is, we had to give them the options, and we had to let them know they have options, because not all of us can have a 176 IQ.
I agree with that. I do. But you're talking about the age of entitlement right now, where everybody who's coming out of grade school has a cell phone at 12 years old. Okay? They're texting, they're talking to their friends, they're doing all sorts of stuff that only adults would do 20 years ago. And we're talking about the same mentality of people that walk into McDonald's and say, "What? You're only going to pay me $7.65 an hour? That's not enough. I can't feed my family on that." Not realizing that McDonald's is a stepping stone career. It's not a career choice to feed your family.
But it could be.
No, it could.
Well,
it's not meant. Nobody's meant to feed their family on friggin' fry cook.
Well, I'm not talking about wages or minimum wages. I mean, like, we can get into that topic if you want to. I'm just sitting there stating that not everybody is meant to go to college. It's not applicable. It doesn't make sense for everybody to go to college.
I would see that.
I dropped out of high school.
So did I.
I went to a 2-year technical college to learn about computer security and network infrastructure.
And I dropped out of high school, got my GED. I'm an anesthesia tech now.
Exactly. You made something of yourself because you decided to choose to do that.
Yeah, but it's actually not that cool. trust me. Hey, wait, people are anesthesia tech. Oh, he's a doctor.
By the way, your bosses,
doctor.
they never heard this.
Doctor.
They don't see the show. Thankfully, it's not that popular. You're covered, so you're good.
Well, my boss doesn't give a shit, so he don't care.
All right. But back to the point here about as far as educational paths. Yeah, I mean, you got to treat it like the game of life. You know, you want to just go straight out into the world, or do you want to go to college? Those should be the options there, and those should be viable positions and viable choices without the social stigma and without the, oh, well, if you're going to something that doesn't require a college degree, you should get paid $6.50 an hour. Granted, there are trade skills that are in extremely high demand right now, like welders, who are needed not just for ships, but for new projects that are coming up in the future. Miners. You think we're going to get rid of miners once we get rid of coal?
Nope.
We're going to need them for every single asteroid capture that we do. We're going to need their expertise. We're going to need their experience. We're going to need their gut intuition and know-how. When they go into a shaft or any sort of tunnel that they go through and they see or feel something that is like, you know what, this doesn't feel right or this isn't right based off my experiences here, and they need to teach that to the next generation because we're going to need them to be able to see this is how we're going to do it. We're going to send humans here. We're going to design robots to make it safer for us. We need that expertise. That's a trade. We have to value that trade.
He's just looking for somebody to make him a torpedo that works.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get away from Stowe for a minute, all right?
And since you got on the subject of robots, that is the one thing I fear the most, and not because of the whole Terminator assimilation, we're going to kill you all thing. It's because it's going to make society as a whole dumber and lazier. And that's what I fear the most.
You know what? They said that about the computer, too. They said that about the computer beforehand. It's going to make us dumber and lazier. It's going to make us not care. And to a point, I saw it until, cats, and it's right when cats started invading the internet. Then that was the beginning of the end. What?
Yeah, the cat memes just got to go, man. I hate that.
That's like half the internet right there, cat memes.
Yeah, that's my mom. That's my mother, dude.
Yeah, dude. All right, but seriously, the internet has made us, and I wrote an essay on this as well. The internet is the first biggest step humanity has made towards unifying a society.
Oh, I totally agree.
Where you can take anybody, anywhere around the world, with different beliefs and different ideas and unite them under one banner.
Which we all should be.
which we all should be. The next step on this, and I'm going to draw into a Star Trek analogy on this one here. The next step on this, with social media, with all of this miniaturization of tech, with all-in-one gadgets, is that they're going to be embedded technology where we are powering the devices by having them embedded into our bodies. I'm not joking.
And I've seen
I'm not
it.
joking.
I
This
work
is
in surgery,
already in
for
the
Christ's
works.
sake.
This is already in the
I want a
works.
prosthetic penis that I can turn on with my mind,
But,
Or
but see,
to battle Odin's.
right?
whatever. You guys have
we
this
can
weird
fight for
fascination.
Andromeda.
You guys have a really sick fascination with that. But
You guys.
You guys,
Yeah.
yes. But the point is that when you have that coming on board, you have social media taking off in ways that nobody ever thought it was taking off on, and heading in directions where they are literally involving every aspect of your life, whether professional or personal. You're going to have people who will have these embedded devices on them, literally attached to the internet 24/7
Oh, yeah.
on these social
I'm
media
fine with that.
networks.
I'm fine with that.
On these social media networks, and anybody who's not involved in this is going to look like a social outcast. You are literally not connected to the hive mind.
Oh, that's happening now. People, what? You don't know what Twitter is? You don't tweet? What? Get away from me.
Dude, I literally started tweeting this year, and
So
it
did I.
was I latecomer. I'm in tech,
Actually-
and I'm the latecomer to this, so you know.
Yeah, actually, Odin, you're the reason why I started tweeting. To be honest, you said something like, "Oh, it's on Twitter." I'm like, "Oh, frick, I gotta
Dude,
Twitter now."
yeah, it was, yeah.
Mhm.
I saw the stuff on there. You know what? Yes, we do need to dial back some things here, but when we come closer to this hive mind, we're going to see a lot of conflicting ideas, and you're going to see. I don't know how this thing is going to come out, but if it's sheer numbers that's going to win, there you are. That's going to be your new social interaction with everybody. You are literally going to be a walking zombie, but instead of, hey, look, I'm looking down at my iPad while I'm walking through a train station or an airport, you know, and not seeing people around, to where you are talking to your friends as you're walking through the train station or the airport and not uttering a sound.
Yep.
And you are going to be connected into this thing. Whether we end up like the Borg or we end up like another step in human evolution depends on how we act and react to these new advancements in technology.
We're never going to get there anyway, though, because we're going to die from a giant meteor strike like the dinosaurs did.
Oh,
No.
shout out to Bill Nye and the Planetary Society for trying to get governments to at least do something about it, because that's a whole nother mess. I actually had the privilege of asking Bill Nye the question: if we do find an asteroid that has our name on it, you know, and one, who's going to foot the bill for deflecting it, and two, if we can't deflect it, if it has to hit Earth, who controls where it hits?
Nobody does.
Nobody
We
does.
can't
I was
deflect it,
gonna-
then we can't
I was-
move.
yeah, we
No,
can't
if you
move
can
it.
deflect it, if you can deflect it enough to where, okay, we can avoid a major population center, but it's going to hit somewhere else, obviously.
Well, you're
Well,
talking about trying to hit a bullseye with a BB gun from 5 million miles away. If you move a fraction of a hair in either direction, you're talking about millions of miles in either direction on the internet.
Depending on how far out we catch this bugger.
Well,
That's
if we
the
don't
trick.
catch it out far enough, you're not deflecting anything anyway.
Mhm.
Well, you're going to deflect it, but you're going to deflect it to where it's like, okay, do we hit the Pacific Ocean near California? Do we hit New York City? Do we hit London, England? Do we hit Moscow, Russia? Do we
I
hit...
guess it depends on the
Odin,
timing.
Odin, it depends on you. And you know what I'm talking about.
You're not going to put me as Morgan Freeman on this shit, man.
Dude,
Don't
I'm gonna
put
get
me
if that
2024.
happens, I'm sending an Orion slave girl to your house. to make sure that you deflect that asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for as bad as Florida politicians are, we're going to make sure it doesn't hit Florida because there's still some good people here.
No, if it's gonna hit Florida, I'm moving to California.
Ah,
Florida. We all wait. All three of us live in Florida.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. Tampa. Woo!
Jayville, what's up?
What?
Representing Jamlando. I know I just dated
Mhm.
myself with that
Even,
reference.
even though I'm going straight to Pensacola here in a few months.
Hey, you know what? Just stop by Patrick for a bit. Sorry, was it Patrick? Patrick? Yeah. No, Patrick is over by the coast. Which one am I thinking of?
Whatever.
McGill is over by Tampa. Patrick is over by Cocoa. What am I thinking of up there? Near Pensacola. Come on. What's the base?
Eglin Air Force Base,
Eglin,
Alabama.
Eglin, yes. The nice bombing ranges over there. I love them.
Yes. I
love
was
'em.
stationed there for a while.
That thing was awesome.
Yeah, what we all need to do is just get together, like over in Tampa area, and go hit up some strip clubs. I mean, museums.
Health
You know,
bars. Yeah, we need to go to
I've
some
never
health
been to a
bars.
strip club. I've never been to a strip club before.
I have, and you haven't lived until you had a girl named Champagne brush your body with her hair smelling of sweet perfume.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
you can't.
I just never thought of that as something I would actually enjoy doing.
You'll hate every minute of it, or you love every minute of it. I hated
don't know.
every minute of it, but you still have to go.
I don't know. It's just the over objectification of a female's body, just for. Yeah, I guess. So.
Really? That woman that is doing that to you makes more in a day than you will see in a month. And
she's
trust
doing
me,
it,
she
and
knows what she's doing.
And she's doing it to control you, to make herself feel empowered. To be quite
Exactly. They know what they're doing. They're
So
not
you say it's
forced in any
mutual
way to do it.
exploitation? Then,
Yes, it
in that
is.
case.
Yeah.
It's a mutual
I see.
exploitation.
I see.
Why do
I
you think
see.
stripping is becoming so popular? Because women know and realize that
It
they can
is.
exploit men and make lots of money without having to sleep with them.
Mhm. And women, they exploit women
Yeah,
too, dude.
exactly.
Women are just as much a part of it. I mean, I haven't been in like 6-7 years, but last time I went with my wife, and she did horrible things.
Oh, that's a discussion for another time.
That doesn't sound horrible to me at all.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the show.
No, that's for DPS After Dark.
Oh yeah,
DPS After Dark.
The fabled DPS After Dark. It doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. I know it doesn't exist because I didn't create it.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, you know what? We're gonna do another one of these jam sessions later because I'm going to have to deal with the school board, Lake County, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with that. We got some good people up there, and we got some people who are questionable with their motives as far as what they want to do for the educational system here.
Mhm.
I'm sure a couple. Was it Hernando County,
Yeah.
Flagler County,
Yep,
and Duval. Oh, good grief! Yeah, let's not even talk about those guys right
Yeah,
now
yeah.
because we'll get a whole headache. We'll deal with that later, but
Us
thank you
Floridians.
guys. Thank you
All
guys
right.
for showing up on this, man. We're just gonna call this it's another, impromptu show. Of
Another
the
jam
show.
session.
Yeah, I
we're
love
going to
it.
keep it going. Abortion!
Oh,
I'm not touching that with Marshall's penis.
You know what? I could care less about that. All I know is that, what the heck? Let me bust Khan a little bit around here
We're taking
because
their guns.
yeah, we're taking his guns and his flag. Love it. Talk to you guys later. Have a
Later,
good
man.
one.